Hello and welcome. My name is Marc Caron, and I'm really honored to be here with my good friend Patri of the PSSM Global Movement. And today we're here to speak with Jasmuheen, and she'll be a speaker at the upcoming Spiritual Science International Meet coming up on January 30th and 31st. Now, Jasmuheen is known as the grandmother of the Western Breatharians. She is nourished by prana and that she calls the cosmic microfood. She's a founder of the Embassy of Peace. Jasmuheen has been on the cosmic energy for the past 24 years. So I'm really excited to speak with Jasmuheen and really find out what being a breatharian and feeding on prana is all about. And of course, Pari is Pari's a great friend of mine now, and we've kind of met virtually and digitally from her work with Cosmic Reset about a year and a half ago, and where we're in Virginia, and I'm coming from Vancouver, British Columbia. Pari's on the East Coast, so thank you, Pari, for inviting me to be here with you today.
Well, welcome, Marc. Thank you for hosting this again. And as I mentioned it earlier as well, I absolutely enjoy these interviews. And today is really, really exciting because I have been waiting to have this conversation today with our special guest, Jasmuheen. I have been email tagging with her for her past 2 years. In fact, I wanted to bring her to US to one of our events, actually last year, Cosmic Reset, which didn't happen. But I'm so glad that she's joining us in the Spiritual Science International Meet happening on January 30th and 31st. She's going to be speaking on January 31st. And everybody can go register yourself at www.ssim-live.com. And this event is dedicated to plant-based living, completely dedicated to that. And when we talk about plant-based living, the first name that comes to our mind is Jasmuheen, because of the tremendous work she has done as a global peace ambassador, as a facilitator who has initiated thousands of people into this practice of connecting with prana, with source. So today, thank you, Jasmuheen, for coming and talking to us.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you, Pari and Marc. I miss not being with people, I'm sure everybody at home does, because when you get to be with people physically, there's another energy that is created, especially when we sit and meditate together. And I think one of the greatest joys is you can see people coming together, and after a little while of time, they blend, they bond, they tap in more to this pure source energy, and they become the best friends and the most beautiful spiritual family. And it's so nice to witness that. But at the moment, we're not traveling, but we can do it here online. So hi to everybody who's joining us as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm sure if you tune into this upcoming event, you'll gain a lot. Just feel in your heart if it's right to come. We'd love you to tune in.
Jasmuheen, I love that you bring that up in terms of the difference of the way the world's working today, where we're missing the live interaction with people at live events and things. And I also want to put out to people that I've done so many virtual live events now that they really do work, because we have to find new ways, and this is about adapting to the new times. Always. And I figure if we can connect wirelessly through our technology, then we are already, kind of innately wired to connect with each other through the cosmic energy. And that's kind of part of what we're talking about. So, part of me says, that one of the best ways to take advantage and make these new virtual type events work is to really be engaged. And when you feel into the other people and you can talk and look in their eyes, even if we do it digitally, we still have an opportunity to be able to connect in a really great way. And hey, trust me, I miss the hugs and the high fives and the energy of live events. And I also enjoy, you know, sometimes not always the travel. So it's one of those bittersweet things. And, you know, when the tree grows us lemonades, nothing like a good jug of, or lemons, sorry, when a tree grows us lemons, you know, it's always nice to have that jug of lemonade, right?
You know, it's so funny because it's kind of like transition, as you've just said. Like before we could gather in big audiences and live events. Now we're doing it in this way, and we're still tuning to each other beautifully. And then we have the internet, what you're talking about, the internet. And now the next phase is the internet.
I like that.
I know. And
That's
it's like this telepathic communion. And when we sit in silent stillness, we can really open our hearts, come into that vibration of love, and just tune to all the amazing, beautiful, wise, loving people that are all around the world that are really holding particular energies through this time of great change.
Beautiful. Now, I know Pari is really excited to speak with you today, as was I, especially after our conversation last week with Ken and talking about, you know, feeding off prana and being a breatharian. So I was really excited to speak with you about it, because for me, I'll never forget the day I was reading the book Autobiography of a Yogi. And he tells a story of one of these yogic women who, after her experience with her mother-in-law, stopped eating and was really feeding off prana. So I'm really excited to hear your story and your experience and how we can really bring this into our everyday lives for those of us on this path, so that we can maybe bypass a couple of things. In a good way, of course. I don't mean spiritual bypassing.
You know, that's why this Congress that you were doing about plant-based is so important, because everything has its time and its reason and its season, like making lemonade out of lemons. And plant-based is really a huge network around the world, because many of our millennials, for example, are really in that energy of kindness and compassion. A lot of the new souls coming in are vibrating at a very awakened frequency, and they're naturally choosing very high life force, but very light diets. And we know that when people go into the animal kingdom and consume that, then there's a lot more digestive energy involved. And this is what I found when I was really young. I just probably past life stuff, you know, where, because you always enter in on the same frequency you exited last time. And I just naturally gravitated to live and light, because I found all through my childhood, I had far greater mental clarity. I had much better energy. And so for me, my journey was just like one thing gently leading to another, just like our world is gently, maybe not so gently, through climate change and environmental issues, really having to look at the environmental benefits of a plant-based diet. Well, there's always those who are then bringing in the next pattern. So let's say we've all assimilated that. We've all gone into kindness and compassion and love for animals as our friends, not our food, which is the thing about kindness, compassion, and consciousness. Well, what next, you know, as the planet blossoms into a more enlightened phase of evolution, will it be natural for people to just lose more and more of their hungers, because they are involved in the things that the Pyramid Society, the Spiritual Science International people promote, which is self-knowledge, self-mastery, meditation. And so our work is to simply do the research from the, you know, I've been doing this since '93. And so as people naturally, organically move into this, they can go, oh, what's going on with me? I'm not, I go search on the internet or the internet. They can find, oh, this seems to be a natural organic thing that can happen to any human being when they hit a certain frequency note. So, you know, my background has just been in experimentation about what felt right. I always knew there was something more. I always knew that our world could live in harmony, in peace, with respect, with honor, in integrity, but I wasn't witnessing that in the external world, and I wasn't educated in my normal educational paradigm into how to anchor into that permanently, because I was getting glimpses of it. And then one of the byproducts of this self-mastery, self-knowledge, self-exploration, spending time in meditation, in silence, is you just eventually lose all your hungers. So my focus is not breatharianism. That's a different reality, although the work we do have been labeled that. But our focus is on source feeding from the pure and perfect, authentic nature, that essence energy, having it so strong that we actually lose all human hungers. And that's physical, emotional, mental, and even etheric, spiritual. And that's interesting, I find.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's so amazing, because I've seen this movie on Gaia TV, The Living on Light. And then that's when I got more and more information about connecting to source and connecting to light, and how we can nourish ourselves with light. And the idea of this, when I speak to, the normal people, they have completely no idea that we can actually get energy from the source, and we can be nourished by it. It's not just energy, and even actual physical nourishment happens through the light, through the source. Can you speak a couple of words on that, Jasmuheen?
Look, one of the things I loved about connecting with the spiritual scientists in India and being invited by Patri to be the president of the global Congress there, and we were gathering for many, many years in India. But I love the scientific approach. And what I love is the 99.99999% space that's in an atom. And so we're technically only a teaspoonful of solid matter. People don't realize that, because we look solid, we feel solid, everything feels solid, but it's all bound together, these little bubbles of energy, by this cosmic glue I call unconditional love. But more than that, not only is it binding through dark matter and through our DNA, but it's a vibrational frequency in the atoms of every single life form. And when it's strong and pure and focused on by the universal law of resonance, and it starts to really flood more through the atomic structure, the changes in the physiology of the body are incredible. Firstly, from the practice of the lifestyle we use, is you're more in that theta brainwave pattern. So when your brain is in that pattern, the physiology of the body is different. When you can open to just recognize what is already happening in you, in that every atom operates like a white hole. I love 𝗎𝗡 Hadameen's work. He's proven that every atom operates like a black hole, but it depends if the atoms are receiving or transmitting energy. So we constantly have like this. I have my fan on now because I'm in Australia and it's really hot, and it's like wind above me, but that wind is like it's like a cosmic energy wind that flows through the tunnels of an atom or through the cells, and the whole body can just and drink and feed from it. And that's what we see when we look with the third eye in the body. So we all have this capability. It's just, and it's natural, it's part of the magnificence of the human design, but we're not given education on the ABC and the formula of how to flip into that level of nourishment. And to be honest, most people don't want to. Most people just yum, 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 yum. They get such a buzz from the emotional feeding reality from taking physical food. But it's not our time yet, but time will come for more people to be educated into this, to understand it. But right now, it really is plant-based diet time. That's the time for this now, for more education on this, more education on the microbiome and the microbiology, and how all of that is rebalanced and healed with the plant-based diet, as we talk about. We will share about more in the Congress.
Wonderful, wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I know Marc even doesn't know, so I want to give an introduction or background about what you just mentioned about the Congress. So in the so we have a big pyramid in India, in South India, in Bangalore, called Pyramid Valley. It's actually 𝗤𝗏𝗚𝗚.org, and that's where we have yearly Congress of Spiritual Scientists, where Jasmuheen is the president there. And so it's about bringing science and bringing different perspectives of spiritual science. And Jasmuheen, can you share a couple of words about the experience there and how really it's shifting people's mindset and people are the practice that they are doing as well?
You know, I'd like to share a little story because my heart has been touched so much by my going back into India and the time I've spent in India. And you also have another huge pyramid at Hyderabad. And these pyramids can hold 5,000, 7,000 meditators. So they're big pyramids, good energy, you know, the construction, the vortices they're on are very, very powerful. And this is the work of your father, Patri, and many others. And I remember going to see the pyramid in Hyderabad when it was being built. And one of the things we did was we went and visited the local community, the villagers. And as we were walking through the village, the amount of women who came up crying and hugging all of us and just saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it was like, okay. And they said that all the work you'd been doing there was introducing vegetarianism again back to the communities, and also meditation, just very simple, that focus back on the breath and, you know, give your monkey mind a holiday, relax, come back to the breath. And when the human mind is empty, the supreme mind fills it with wisdom. And then that's that same energy vibrating through the atoms. It has a frequency of love and wisdom and power that is so beautiful, and you can feel it as peace. You can feel it as love. So I said to the women, wow, it's so nice, because they were saying that just meditation, just going to a vegetarian diet transformed the whole village. They all were meditating. The men stopped drinking. They decided no more alcohol in the village. Consciousness just went so pure and so beautifully, and the village came into a village of great peace. There was no more disharmony anymore. And that's just the simple practice of meditation and vegetarianism. So it was so beautiful to be in India and be part of that. And that's part of the work that you have all been doing, and part of the work you're doing now with the promoting of beyond vegetarian and into plant-based. And then eventually, when people are ready, they can absorb more of our research that they'll find on our online courses and on our website as well.
Well, I'm really curious about some of these hows and how we can, you know, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you still eat food, right? Yourself. You
I don't
probably
need to.
You don't need to at all.
No, I don't need anything at all. It's really lovely. But you see, we want to make sure that this is not a path of rigidity, that it's a very organic, natural path. You know, there have been times I've been with my grandchildren when they were little, and they'd want to share some mango with me. So I wouldn't go, oh no, I don't eat or anything. I just lovingly accept that. But since 1993, I have been completely free. If there's no physical food around me, it doesn't matter, don't need it. You know, my choice, if I ever take anything, is always very light, a tiny bit of fruit, just because sometimes that's nice when I'm with others. But I have this absolute freedom, and my body, it just goes, oh yes, because you're in a stasis. There's no digestive energy anymore. And so I just keep this, sorry. And so when you're not digesting all this different extra energy that you would use in digestion, like a plant-based diet, when you keep it light, the body will use that energy for healing, or in our case, you're not using digestive energy, so the energy goes to higher capabilities. So it tunes you like a channel, like an oracle almost. You get higher perception, you get higher vision, your telepathy, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient abilities expand. You find you're flowing in a rhythm of grace and synchronicity that is so addictive that you don't want to drop frequency. And you can play with this. When you go into the digestive process, then there's energy diverted to digestion. And if your body doesn't need it, it's like your body says, why are you doing this? You know, I don't need it. And the cosmic micro fuel, the source energy that is everywhere around us and within us, it is so pure and so delicious that the body just loves it. So it's like you can't fool yourself once you lock in. You just know it's a superior way of being, but you still have choice to play any which way. If you want to take physical foods, you can, but you soon find, you know, and then so it's like, okay, well, that was interesting for, you know, doing that socially or whatever, but your natural preference just stays with this way of being nourished. Because you see, what replaces it too, like people say to me, I love the taste, the flavor. I get this emotional hit of sharing food with people that I love. And in India, 3 days of feasting for a wedding, for example. But what we're tapping into here is the zone of virtues, because vibrating through the atomic structure is what I call baseline energy. And this is the energy that brings creation into being. And on its purest level, it's just love. And in that vibration of love is the zone of virtues. And so you get flooded with the deepest peace. You get flooded with the energy of awe and wonder at creation. You start to tap more and more and feel your expanded multidimensional nature, that just a small drop of you exists in form, but you're a vast multidimensional being connected in the web of one. And you start to have communication with beings from the unified realms and beings from the ascended master matrix, and the beings who really are beings of the greatest love and the greatest wisdom, and they become your friends. And it's like, oh, I love that. And the emotional rewards of that are just so delicious and so much more than any little pleasure you might gain from, you know? So you become fed emotionally in such a different way. So not only is source feeding a superior fuel source physically, because it heals and rebalances, and it keeps you young and vital, but it gives you such emotional pleasure. And the intellectual conversations that you have telepathically in this multidimensional state is so mentally nourishing that you're just like, I'd love to just touch everyone and say, hey, babe, this is what you can have when you're ready, if you're ever interested. But you've just got to do it safe, and you've got to be prepared to do the work of fine-tunement. So I stayed for 20 odd years in the Vedic understanding, practicing meditation and deep in that training. Then I moved into the Ascended Master Matrix vibrationally. Then I came into source feeding. So this wasn't like I'm just going to stop doing this, stop taking physical food. I wasn't even looking for it, but I read, like you, Autobiography of a Yogi. I read of 𝗤𝗟𝗄𝗏. I knew it was a 6,000-year-old tradition in the Qigong circles in China. I knew it was a 4,000-year-old tradition in India, but I never felt, I want to do that. Never. But it happened naturally and organically. And then I had to do the thing of, oh my God, what's happened to my body? What's going on? And then people used to say to me, what's the science? And I go, I have no idea. All I know is that I just hit a frequency note and I lost all my hungers. And then I had to look at lifestyle. So there is a formula into this, and this is what we promote through our work, what we call the Luscious Lifestyle Formula or Luscious Lifestyle Program, which is just a way of just boosting, flooding the whole system with authentic self, the I am, the monad, the pure essence. It's already that enlightened part of us. And when it dominates the system, we become free. We no longer have hunger. It's nice. And I love the gift we give to Gaia, because we're not taking anything from Gaia. You know, we're walking on planet Earth, just loving Gaia, loving her beauty, but we have no need. We don't need crop cultivation. We don't need to take fruit from trees. Like, I have fruit trees here, but the possums eat it all. And, you know, I have a lot of creatures in my yard that eat everything, and I can just enjoy them. You know, I like that.
It's beautiful. And I know I can speak for myself when I changed to a plant-based diet about a decade ago. The difference, so I can really relate to what you're talking about, is how it changes our vibration, changes even our energy, because like you're talking about, our digestive energy that gets put into digestion is one of our most outputs of energy in our everyday life for people. And so many people don't know that. So I think that's a big part of it. And then when I went to plant-based, I noticed that, you know, I was thinking differently. I was feeling different. Like, I was my intuition was stronger. There was less kind of stress, anxiety. Everything in my physiology and my psychology changed. Even my spirituality changed, because I felt more connected to source. And, you know, if over the years when I did stray, there was always a noticeable difference. And what I guess I'm curious is, because I know you can't tell us, you know, all the tools and tricks in the short time we have here today, but what can people do to start changing if they're, you know, especially, you know, like you say, we're so literally addicted to good food and the taste and the sensation. It's social. It meets our needs and connection and so many different areas. How do we start making that shift in a good way? And what does, you know, feeding on source look like? How does one even transition to such a thing?
First, the interest, the sincere-hearted interest. You know, I've often said in interviews that I was raised in a family where my father always said, honor your own intelligence and do your own research, you know, and we are intelligent people, but we have to remember there's not just the internet, there is the internet, and that we are hardwired with other senses. We have our basic senses of sight and smell and touch, but we have the sense of intuition, and we have the sense of knowing, and that's this state of I know what I know, but I'm not quite sure what it is that I know, but I know that I know it. And when we follow it, our life works well. And so it's like, well, if this what we're talking about feels right, and you know, we have over 120,000 people now on Earth with this gift, and another 500,000 in training. But they're training slowly, organically, naturally, safely by lifestyle, because that's what it does. It's like we need to magnetically drop back into that pure source energy that we carry inside that is also outside. And it's just like a garden bed. You know, you have superficial layers, or an iceberg. You have this top superficial layer of the iceberg, and some people are in beta brainwave frequency and they think that's all they are. But when you go into meditation, which is an important part of the lifestyle we offer, and you want to know, so it's the heart saying, show me who I really am. Let me experience the wisdom of all the highest teachings that have been brought to earth that are for my highest good. Let me not just read the wisdoms or hear about it, but let me really experience. Like the autobiography of Yogi was the first book I'd read that transmitted love. I didn't know books could do that, but it was the vibration of Yogananda and the teachings of Yogananda. So we have these wise, loving beings through all cultures, even our indigenous people, but it's all a wisdom that vibrates in us, because on our core level, you and I are the same. On our core level, there's no difference between you and Buddha or you and the Christ. We're pure essence vibrating. We're formlessness vibrating through form. We're formlessness flowing like wind through the atomic structure of form. So we want to make a really deep immersion into formlessness again. And so when we're really at one with this formlessness, it's strong and strong within us, which we do through our lifestyle by what we give our focus to. And one of the things there is mastery of mind. And I notice this on our world right now. People need to feed themselves wisely. Now that means good intellectual food. And good intellectual food is no longer engaging in paradigms that create fear and separation. Because when our intellectual food is divisive, that's when our emotional body goes and feels fragmented. That's when it starts to eat junk food and everything else.
How appropriate to the sign of the times right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I think that it's something we all need to be even more mindful about, because you know, like you say, how do you discern what's true or not anymore? You know, it's Internet. So divisive. Internet, exactly. Internet. Great answer.
We have to go back through, like what we share a lot about is stasis. And stasis is silence, stillness, solitude. And we bring our digestive system into stasis, and it's so beneficial. And I would add to plant-based the 16-8 formula, where you only take physical food for 8-hour window a day and give your system a rest so it can use this energy for healing. So step by step into our reality is be gentle. First, the desire in the heart. Who am I really? I want to experience who I really am at the core. Show me what this biosystem is capable of. Reveal to me experientially the truth of all the holy wisdoms and scriptures that I need to feel and remember, because it's only ever remembrance, you know. And then you lighten up your diet. So I definitely would say plant-based, plant-based, plant-based. And then you add meditation to your lifestyle, because stasis, silence, stillness, solitude, where you're open to really feel who you are and open to the wisdom you carry, because everything in duality is about duality. He said, she said, this is right, this is wrong, blah, blah, blah. And that's confusing. If all you get is your information from the internet, it can be confusing. We have to be discerning, but if you get your information from the internet, because the wisdom you carry at your core, which is Buddha consciousness, Christed consciousness, when it rises and that becomes your number one guru and number one guide, you also have the vision of this, where you can always see with higher perception and awareness the patterns of energy that are unfolding on earth and why. Like, we've got many years of this chaos ahead of us, while all systems that no longer or never have served the greater good are going to rise for rebalance, and for every individual in humanity to go, yes or no, I want to play in there or I don't. And we don't have to analyze. We can just say, I'm done. I want to live in the paradigm of unity and harmony within myself and with all sentient life. Yes, make that my truth. So source feeding will bring you into a point where you just have no hunger anymore. You have no intellectual hunger, you have no mental hunger, you have no emotional hunger, you have no spiritual hunger, and you definitely you're in stasis, digestive. You don't need to take physical food, and the benefits of that are so nice that generally you choose not to.
Wow,
Absolutely.
so much there.
Yeah, I know. I remember for the last year, December, so we did a program where we did 9-day fasting program. So this is the first time I have ever done this in my life. So, and I know somehow it just came in, like I have to now get on to not eating food. And that's where we started working with sun gazing and connecting to the earth, a lot of meditation to bring that prana. And I remember we did 100 people did in this group, and they had amazing experience. By the third day, they were like, I don't feel hunger and I have super energy, like I have
Yes.
extreme energy. And they were amazed with that, and so was I, because I was cooking for my children, I was cooking for my husband, but yet I didn't feel like I should eat. So I can totally relate to everything you're saying, Jasmuheen. And we have a question from the audience, saying that could you explain the wonder of meditators in the pyramid in southern India?
Oh, look, you've just got a group of dynamic energy transmitters. See, we forget that the most sacred system we have is not the external pyramid or a sacred mountain, but it's the human biosystem. We are source in form. We are formlessness in form. So when you get a group of thousands, or even Jesus once said, when two or more are gathered in my name, I will be there. So when you get people gathered together with the agenda to be in peace, like at Hyderabad in 2012, you had something like nearly 2 million people gathered around, and you were focused for something like 48 hours just on peace, on the vibration of peace flowing through the world. Well, that opened all these dimensional doorways to the channels of that which you're focused upon. And that's the quantum field here. That's the unified field and the law of resonance. It says, whatever you focus upon, you will bring into being and make stronger and stronger. So when we meditate together, no matter where it is, even now or in the other times we come together online or in quiet times alone, and you're tapping into this reality of just like, I am on the inhale, pure love on the exhale. That's food. Because when you're chanting, not Om Namah Shivaya or anything like that, but you're chanting, claiming the truth of who you are, which is a multidimensional being of pure love, that love rises and it goes, ooh, yes, you are. I am pure love. I am pure love, because the mind, blah, 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 sometimes in meditation, so we can give it a job. And so then this energy rises. This is wise use of mental energy. So when you get people all around the world chanting, I am pure love, then this pure love rises from the matrix, flows through them, transmissions out into the world, feeds them as it flows through their body of light, and then feeds the world. Wow, how simple is that? So you don't need to go to any pyramid. Do it here, do it now, do it every day. I am pure love. And this is how we make the multidimensional nature reveal more of itself, is the mantras, I am pure love, I am eternal, I am infinite. And those of you who've been with me a long time, we always share this because it's a simple way to flood the human biosystem and the physical structure with this frequency spectrum of pure nature. And by doing that, feeling it, you just lose your hungers.
And I love the simplicity you bring in there with some really simple mantras, plant-based living, meditation. And, we've so complicated things in the Western world by understanding science. But if we just get back to nature, it's really pretty simple if we can tune, and I think part of it is to unlearn so much of what we learned in the scripted narrative of, the past 100 and so years from our education, culture, society, and everything else.
Yeah.
How simple it is when we actually just get right back to nature.
Yes. And see, even here, like we've done a lot of experimentation with darkroom technology for nearly 20 years. And we take so many groups of people from all over the world, all cultures, all spiritual realities. We put them in darkness, absolute darkness for 9 days and nights, no physical food, some water, if they want, or maybe some juice, and that's all. And we give the digestive system a rest while we boost their pranic levels, their source feeding abilities, by just revealing how the light body is constructed, but just breath. So we're in darkness. 9 days, 9 nights, we have to make the now moment our best friend. Otherwise we go like, it's so boring. And it's the same in the world today. People are in lockdown and they're thinking, when is this going to finish? When's the chaos going to end? When is this? Because they're living in the future and they're not fully anchored in the now moment. But when you go fully in the now moment awareness, that's when pure nature can rise and really reveal the multidimensional self, because you're not locked into mental constructs. Remember, the unified field can only bring you that which equates or mirrors your own model of reality. So if you think this is impossible, then it is for you. But many people are hardwired and go, I might play with this, like fasting. Have regular fasts. When you're comfortable with fast, then you can go on to something else. But the something else may be as simple as breath. We don't breathe oxygen. We breathe whatever we want. Because when we believe, like every breath, I can believe I'm drinking from the baseline of creation, from the source of the purest love, and quantum will make that my truth, because that's my expectation of the unified field to deliver that. If I think I'm just breathing oxygen and that's all I breathe, I could be in darkroom and I can move my consciousness to the Amazons and drink of the energy of the Amazon, or move my awareness to the Himalayas and drink in pure Himalayan air, or go sit on the beach when I'm there in an expanded awareness and drink of the high chi field of Mother Nature on the beach. So we can just drink Mother Nature chi of the purest quality, no matter where we are, no matter what's happening. Then we can go to cosmic chi, then we can go to pure essence, baseline of creation chi. So just through breath. And that's because of the magnificence of the human design. We're designed to be able to change the rhythm of the breath and flood our system with a delightful array of different frequencies and energies.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That was amazing.
I know.
So when you fast, don't fast. Just you're doing the fasting, you're doing the cleanse, but hold the intention, all your vitamins, all your minerals, everything you need, your proteins, to be strong, fit, healthy, self-regenerating, rejuvenating system, that it all comes from the essence flowing through your atomic structure. And that way you'll be cleansing your body through the fast, but you'll also be opening up to a superior stream of nourishment. And as you said, practice solar gazing. Study solar gazing. It's an amazing way of being. Ancient art of India. It's only a problem if you're living in an environment where there's not much sun. So there's so many wonderful ways that we can keep our system strong, because now more than ever, as we go into this next period of time, we have to keep our immune system super strong, because when the immune system's strong, viruses aren't an issue. Pandemics aren't an issue. It's just an issue when the immune system can't cope with what's happening in the environment around us.
And a lot of that comes from the poisoning in our foods, everything we're putting into our body, the chemicals, even when we're eating what we think might be good food, it's like a food-like product. When you read the ingredients, it's sprayed with this, that, we don't even know, And
even in the soil can be so depleted, and there's chemicals like Roundup. All the work of Dr. Zach Bush is so important, because you think I'm on plant-based or organic, but often the soil has been so depleted unless it's farmed correctly, as per the work of people like Dr. Zach Bush and farmers who are stopping the pesticides and insecticides and farming differently now.
There's a lot of great work being done in the farming community, but it's all, it's all small. It's nothing industrial and commercial to feed the masses, like you're saying, you might think you're getting the best organic produce out there, yet we don't know what's in the dirt and the sand. And even if the farmers in these mass things are doing the best that they can, there's an global environmental field that's, you know, becoming toxic everywhere. You know, I'd be curious what's in the rain if you really analyzed it.
Exactly, exactly. And I think most people are aware of that. And so, you know, one of the things we share in our work is we don't absorb energy, we radiate energy. So when you live the sort of lifestyle that we recommend through our online courses and the things you'll find on our jasmuheen.com site, it boosts your system so pure essence nature becomes like a shiny sun through the body of light, transmits through the pores out through the cells, through the atoms, through the pores of your skin. And so what you're transmitting is powerful enough to negate anything in the external world around you, from being a negative influence, including EMFs, including acid rain, including, you know, man-made pollutions. So, but you got to unhook from this, I'm absorbing energy, it's poisoning me, and go, I am plugged into a never-ending source of love and wisdom and power. It's the core of who I am, and I live the lifestyle where it strengthens and it rises and radiates through me, radiates out through the world, nourishes me and nourishes the world. Now that's my research and that's my interest.
All I can say right now is wow, and I so look forward to your talk on the 31st at the Spiritual Science International meet, and I look forward to learning more about your work and connecting more in the future, because you're certainly speaking my language, and your discipline. I always admire those with that discipline. You know,
it's
like
when it's joyous, it's not a discipline. See, it's a lifestyle. And
I know,
it's a lifestyle with such benefits.
I completely get it. It's, you know, I say discipline because some people will be, you know, it's what it is. And even speaking for myself, sometimes it's a discipline because I'm certainly not perfect and I'm hooked into some of the foods I love. Like when you're talking about an Indian feast in India for 2 days, I'm like, I start salivating thinking of all the great food because Indian food's one of my favorites, right? So, you know, there's that. There's this, and you know, when I speak discipline, it's really your commitment, your ability to really stay focused on what you're so passionate, your mission. Does that make sense?
Oh, look, it does. And you know, it is just what we're born to do. You know, I believe our world is filled with people who feel like round pegs trying to fit into square holes, and because they weren't born to fit in, they were born to bring in a new way of being when the time is right. And so their pattern of energy will blossom and consume them and make them passionate, because that's what they were born to deliver as a gift for this world. And so right now, it is the pattern of energy for plant-based on a global level to come into reality. Because you were talking about the benefits for you. Well, what happens is by plant-based, you plug into kindness, you plug into compassion.
Absolutely.
And that's a zone of nourishment. So of course you feel better. You feel better emotionally.
And you're brighter, you're lighter.
Yes.
You know, when things change for me, you know, people would say, what's different about you? You're glowing. You know, and it was cleansing and detoxing the body, changing a whole bunch of things. You know, it was a whole awakening process and part of my journey. And I think now it's the time in the world when we need to bring this work even more to the masses, to the many. So, you know, you talk about immune systems, and, you know, we don't even want to get censored when we just talk what's natural and makes sense. Immune systems, just like, how do you censor that? So, you know, that aside, I love the work that you're doing, and at this time that humanity needs this work and these transformations more than ever in the history of man. You know,
we need to know what's possible. We need to know what we're designed to be able to do. We need to go into the experience of our full potential and not keep living in the personality construct of the ego nature, because that'll keep us bound to duality, and that'll keep us in the highs and lows and the fear and the them and us and the judgment and separation. And we need to just supplement our knowledge with inner net connectivity rather than just internet connectivity.
Yeah.
And that comes from meditation and lifestyle. And remember, Socrates said, man, know thyself, and women too.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to use, if I made this internet thing, because I think it's brilliant. And I'll always give you credit. I learned from Jasmuheen.
Yes, that's what the Ascended Masters used to say. I used to work a lot with Saint-Germain. I was very much under his umbrella when I was pushed onto the global stage to share about source feeding. And, you know, he taught me, I was with him for years in my field, and he shared a lot about the internet. So I'll acknowledge Saint-Germain as you acknowledge me, or just acknowledge Saint-Germain.
All right. I just love it. It's just a nice little play on words that really makes it easy for people to, you know, bring it in. So
yeah, keep it simple. It's there.
I love simplicity. It's a great virtue.
I like simple things that work and deliver results.
Well, of course it has to work. There's a lot of difficult things we do out there that just don't work.
I know.
We spend a lot of time, effort, and energy on that.
Yeah. Sometimes there are simple things that don't work either because it's not complete enough.
I agreed.
Absolutely. I think today's session was really, really powerful in the sense, like, so many points that you highlighted, talking about source feeding. This term today I've learned, and it really connects with me, because we are like, and at the point that you mentioned, we are not absorbing, we are radiating. And that's so powerful. Like it completely shifts the consciousness that we are giving, and we are radiating and raising the frequency of the entire planet, not just us. And as Marc mentioned, this message needs to be reached to the masses. This message has to be good, not just the spiritual people, not just the people who are into yoga or into crystals, but everyday people. And and everybody who's watching this session, this sincere request from our team, from the PSSM Global, Pyramid Spiritual Societies Movement Global, to please bring a friend, please share this information, and get them to this event, because this is where we are bringing from every aspect, from doctors, from people who have, from celebrities, from who have practiced this and have been successful. And Jasmuheen is going to talk about the role of plant-based diet in preparation for source feeding. So this is a great topic for all the people out there who do not know anything about source feeding or plant-based food. So please share this information and bring a friend, bring your family member, because this message, again, as Marc mentioned, has to reach masses. What do you say, Marc?
Well, I think it's just absolutely true. This is a time where, you know, humanity has to wake up. And like you said, Pari, you know, we can take spirituality out of it. We can take all of the, what some people might be watching going, woo woo is one of those technical terms out there. What it really is for me is always getting back to nature, getting back to source. And when we take a look at ourselves, and I've said it before, if you watch nature, nature's not unpackaging their food. They're not scheduling their time for dinner. They're not flying through drive-throughs. The eagle's not going, having a fillet of fish from the drive-through, right? It's out there in nature. And I believe humankind has so lost our connection to nature. And when we get back to source, we get back to nature, we wash our brains, we cleanse our bodies, and we really connect, like you were saying, Jasmuheen, that's when you'll experience is the best teacher. We can talk about it all day long, and you might think it's, if you're watching this, it's a bunch of woo-woo, and some of you may be inspired to do something different, which is great. I say test it, do something, learn from Jasmuheen on the 31st, some of the things we can do to prepare ourselves, and then experience it for yourself, because us telling you is not always going to, it may inspire you, yet the experience of doing it, because that's what changed my life, is when I took a 10-day challenge. It was all plant-based, eliminating all of that. And that was the experience for me, because I could understand it intellectually, but until I experienced it in my body, which changed my spirit, my energy, and everything else, that's when it hit home.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That is so true.
Very true. Very true.
Well, thank you so much, Jasmuheen. This has been truly, truly amazing. And everybody out there, the event is happening on January 30th and 31st. It is a free event. But you need to register to get all the login details. So please go ahead and check out all the other speakers as well on SSIM-live.com, where you get the schedule information, the speaker information, and also there's an opportunity for you to partner with us or sponsor the event. If you are a conscious entrepreneur, conscious creator, then this is a great opportunity to meet global audience who are looking for you. So all the information is on the website, and the email is also there where you can connect with us. And it's just 2 weeks now. Time is now, and let's partner this, because this is something that, as we said, the intention is to reach masses. We can only do this together. We can't do this alone.
Absolutely.
So, Marc, any last words?
I'm just always grateful, Pari, to be included and invited to be part of the work that you and your father are doing through PSSM Global. The opportunity to speak with you, Jasmuheen, is just always an honor, because I'm always happy to learn and share people's work. And I'm just excited for what the future brings in this, interesting world, to be connected with such beautiful souls and spirits, as we all are underneath some of our stuff. It's just an honor to be that, because it's us like-minded people who work together as, light workers to change the world, right? So I'm just honored to be part of this movement and here to serve, and anything I can do to help make a difference and inspire people to live an even better everyday life while enjoying the process. And I'm doing it. So I'm just honored to be here. And I encourage everybody, it's a free event. Check it out, because, Jasmuheen is just one of the great speakers that we have lined up. We spoke with Ken last week. He blew my mind too. Every time I speak with the speakers, Pari, that you've lined up, I'm always just like mind blown. And then I'm inspired, and it's like 9 days. How am I going to get 9 days to go sit in the dark? So, that's what but I just encourage people, always be learning, always be growing, always be experimenting and finding out what works for you, because you're the one who knows what's going to work for you. And this is a great opportunity to learn some new tools, techniques, and get inspired.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marc. And Jasmuheen, any last words, and why people should come and watch this event? Why should they do that?
I love experts. We've just completed an online course on healing for people, and we brought in a lot of research from people. And it's so important we don't reinvent the wheel, because there are people who've dedicated their whole lives. I've dedicated for over 50 years to the practice of meditation, and then over nearly 3 decades for source feeding. So there's a lot we've learned. All the speakers are experts in their field. And what I love is that people don't have to take 40 years. They can just learn what we've learned, within an hour or so. But then it has to be experiential. A lot of people, they're gathering information from here, but as was just shared with Marc, we have to play with lifestyle, play with energy, be open-hearted, be open-minded, be curious. How can I fulfill my highest potential as a divine construct in a human form, for example? And yes, some things may seem a bit woohoo, because people may not be ready for that pattern of energy, but everyone can play with a very good, balanced, plant-based diet and immediately feel the benefits without even bothering with meditation or anything else, because plant-based is such a good healer as well, and it heals the microbiology, and it's just a wonderful thing for us as a species to now really begin to explore. So come along. As I said, it's free. Yay. Hang out with some people, and you'll probably have a lot of things already confirmed, and maybe some new things introduced as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jasmuheen. I'm so grateful for you to, first of all, accept this invitation and join us as a speaker and doing this for this mass awakening that is happening, that the shift is happening now. And we are seeing that everybody is now watching it. So thank you so much. And also for this amazing conversation. I'm so happy I'm finally met you. I'm seeing you and we had this conversation, and I can't wait to meet you in person back in India, maybe.
One day.
Yes, yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Pari, and thank you, Marc, and thank you everyone involved in this wonderful upcoming event.